We've covered the basics, add-ons, and trap types. Now we're going to talk gameplay tactics and trap placements. Aside from general killer gameplay and strategy, which you can find from much better players than myself like Otsdarva, Spooky Loops, and Otofu, here are some gameplay tips for playing Hag. The first and most important thing to remember is to build and maintain your web. Remember the ABCs. A, always, B, C, trapping. Start setting traps as soon as you can, immediately after the match loads. Keep an eye out for survivors finding you early in the match or finding them early yourself. Try to avoid them as much as you can until you have at least a few traps down. Don't engage too soon or you'll have a tougher time catching up and setting your web of traps. This will also help prevent survivors finding your traps and purposely setting them off. Maintain your web as the game progresses, especially paying attention to traps that were triggered by survivors that resulted in a successful hit. These are traps that work. Replace them and they'll likely work again. However, don't reset traps when survivors can still see you. They will remember where you set it and go back to purposely trigger it later. Instead, wait until they round a corner or otherwise get out of line of sight. As with Trapper, try to avoid too many obvious trap spots that survivors will easily spot and avoid. Keep survivors on their toes and surprise them. Shock and awe is always a winning strategy for Hag. If and when you are matched with more experienced survivors who better understand how to counterplay Hag, meaning they are harassing your traps and intentionally setting them off or avoiding them entirely, it is important to keep your wits about you. At the very least, this will unlock a secret secondary power of Hag Trap, free survivor tracking. When you notice them doing this, don't attack immediately after teleporting. Instead, wait a few moments afterwards and catch up to get a hit on them. Alternatively, when survivors intentionally set off your traps and run away, let them waste their time. This is a survivor who isn't doing anything to progress the game while you can go about your business and terrorize their teammates. You'll be able to keep a secondary eye on them through the trap tracking. Play a lot of games with no add-ons and no perks at first. Hag's base kit, to use the parlance of our time, is extremely powerful, and it's best to learn without perks and add-ons to prevent giving yourself a handicap or a crutch. At the very least, try to avoid add-ons the first few times you play. This is just a good general tip for any killer, but especially for Hag. Just ask Nurse players about Shadowborn or Huntress players about Oak Haps and Flower Babushkas. Don't get concerned about generators flying by while you're setting up. Admittedly, this is one of the hardest things to get used to when playing Hag. This is normal. If you feel gens are going too fast, I have builds that we'll go over later to help you with that. Teleport timing will come with practice. Focus on other aspects of the game and Hag while working on timing. While the Hag has 10 traps, these will go fast. Keep in mind, if trying to place more than 10 traps, the oldest trap will be wiped off the map, so use them wisely. When setting traps, try to multi-purpose them as much as possible. Instead of trapping singular areas or objectives, set your traps in a way that will trigger them from multiple angles of approach. Survivor assets and objectives are often grouped together closely in the same game tile. Instead of trapping just a pallet, place it in a way that will cover the pallet, vault, or gen in the same tile. This will also help you prevent placing traps too close together. Trap spacing is something to keep in mind as well. If traps are too close, survivors can set multiple traps off, which is a waste of the trap and can be disorienting. Here are some examples of good trap placement and suggestions. Only use one trap if you're going to trap a hooked survivor. Simply walk a few steps backwards from the hook and set the trap and leave. One trap is plenty. When trapping a basement hook, place the trap just on the other side of the small portion of wall that sticks out from the bottom of the stairs. Survivors can't see this trap coming down the stairs and can't flashlight it from the top. Be wary, however, as this trap can make you face the wall if you teleport a little bit too late, as the survivors are going back up the steps, but you will be facing the wall as the trap follows them. Just take a second to realign yourself after you teleport, and this will be fine. When trapping the killer shack, place the trap between the pallet and the window. This trap will force the survivor camera to swing away from the pallet and window, which can throw off their pallet drop timing and force them to slow vault if and when they try to go out that window. However, be careful. Not all shacks are the same, and some have small holes in the wall that allow traps to be triggered from the outside. Dead Dog Saloon Shack is a prime example. On these shacks, place the trap on the other side of the pallet. This way the survivors still get turned away from the pallet but can't set the trap off from outside of the wall. When trapping main buildings on outdoor map, pick one floor and just trap that floor, either the first or second. A good way of deciding which floor to trap is to determine what objective goals each floor has. If there are objectives like generators on the second floor but not the first, trap the second floor, and vice versa. Learn the drop points and vault from second floors as well, as these make excellent trap spots for survivors leaving the second floor. Avoid setting traps directly in front of generators, especially when not using rusty shackles, as this is an obvious and common trap spot. Experienced survivors will be expecting this trap after they've learned that the hag is the killer, and will either crouch to the generators or purposely disarm or harass these traps, making them useless in the end. In the final video, we'll go over different strategies and builds to round out how to best utilize this killer and her deadly ability.